I'm live. Okay, it looks like I'm live now. Hello? The big, huge audience. Huge audience. I have the biggest audiences, the biggest crowds ever. I'm taking lessons from Donald Trump. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to Friday Night Live. This is Annette Dion. I am the host and founder of the Psychic News Network, and I hope you're doing great. I hope you've had a good day. We've had a little bit of a difficult week with the shooting in Georgia, and let's midway in, we'll do a moment of silence for that, because we need to keep that first and foremost on our minds, because it's just, we can't go on with doing nothing about this. We can't stand for that. So it is a day that we found out that Judge Chutkan is keeping the January 6th case alive. I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if Kathy's in the chat. Kathy Beale, our resident astrologer. But I do believe he will be facing... Hi, Donna, from Scotland. Yeah, love you too. I do believe we'll find out more at the end of September. If anyone else has any information about that, feel free to share. I have always seen something happen to Donald Trump prior to the election regarding charges relating to January 6th. Here's the other thing I've always seen. And if you've been with me for a long time, and thank you if you have been, thank you to the new members and subscribers, and if you've been with me for years now, you know that I've repeatedly said we're in a war with Russia. We have been in a war with Russia, an invisible war, since 2016. We had the Cold War, and we've always been at odds. Memo to the MAGAs. Russia is the enemy. I've said so many times, and I even said it at the risk of saying too much, and I'm probably saying something that you knew all along anyway. So forgive me if this is an insult to your intelligence, but let me just say, we have been in a war with Russia, and it's a psychological warfare type war. And repeatedly, we have done readings on this, and I've seen Fox is being fed money, Rupert Murdoch, and you can read about this stuff too, has ties to the Kremlin. The Kremlin has been feeding, and I just want to emphasize, I have read about this physically with my eyes, not tarot cards, but because I was getting so much information about it, I was like, I wonder what's going on with that. And then I would see an article that was the factual account of that Russia was meddling in our social media to get us to be divided. And Russia has succeeded in that. And several times I've said about the Jim Jordans and the James Comers and the Lauren Boeberts and the Laura Loomer and the Sparts woman, and even George Santos somewhat, Gosar, Matt Gaetz. I mean, there's so many. It's hard to name them all, because there's 147 of them in our Congress, which is horrifying. And how many times I've just been watching their behavior and saying, they think they're in Russia. They think they're in Russia. They're behaving like they're in Russia. So they're in this mindset. In Russia, you just accuse somebody of something. Talk about a witch hunt. All 147 do need to go. That's what authoritarian countries do. Look, Alexei Navalny. Tragedy, right? Now a saint in my eyes. Accusing people of things that are ludicrous, that they never even did remotely anything even close to. Brittany Griner, Evan Gershowitz. Thank God these people got released. You're arrested. We're going to charge you with a crime that you didn't commit. The 4th of July visit in 2018, right? So I just want to emphasize that we know this. This information is out there. So I am really so relieved and so, I can't say happy, but just so grateful that the DOJ is coming out with it. This is the tip of the iceberg. This has many, many, many layers, right? Haven't we been talking about this? We have been. Yeah. Yeah, Donna's saying I've said it from the first time that she started following me. Right. And it, you know, to me, it's like, to me, you don't have to be a psychic to figure it out, but it was a psychic impression all along. When I first heard in 2016 that they were investigating Russia's 2016, 2017, they were investigating Russia's involvement in meddling with our elections. And that was after Trump had been inaugurated, I believe. It was 2017. And in that moment, I went, well, that means he's not going to be able to be president, right? Little did I know how long this would go on. Okay, so let's take a look at some cards. I paused for motorcycles. Let me know how you're doing. What's going on? Kathy and I were getting together for another show on the full moon lunar eclipse, which is September 17th. I'm looking at my calendar. Right now, I mean, if you knew this all along, say it. Let me know that you knew this all along too. And I've said this before. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for Vladimir Putin. And I've said this before. I'm just reminding you. Putin's dream is to make America, I think I said the Russian Federation of America, right? I'm not joking. That's literal. They want to own America. America is the jewel in the crown for all the authoritarian countries. And don't think that they're all strong and powerful, because Putin is losing right now. Excuse me while I get a tea leaf out of him. We're going to read some cards. Yeah. And then you have, I mean, we have to count our blessings. Trump has lost his mind, and that's a good thing, because the American people will start to get very frightened of any even thought of him being in the Oval Office, except the ones that are really in the cult, because in a cult, the cult leader can do no wrong no matter what he does. Remember, he said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. That's the kind of energy he was referencing when he said that. He could have people eating out of the palm of his hand. Trump could. Yeah, and he knew it in 2016. He could have people eating out of the palm of his hand, because Trump was taught and trained by criminals, his father primarily being the first. And what he meant when he said I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it was that he had the ability to con and swindle people into supporting him. So he was right about that. He is a con man. Total con man. Now, there was something, I don't remember what it was at the moment, but there was something that I was going to show you. What was it? DOJ indicts Russian nationals in $10 million scheme to spread covert propaganda to United States audiences. And that brings me at least a sigh of relief. It's out. It's out in the open. Yeah, Roy Cohn taught Trump how to be a criminal. And another little speck of good news. The movie based on Donald Trump's life, called, I think it's called The Apprentice, right? Do you guys know about this? Is coming out. Hey, Damon, get him, DOJ. Yes, let's have a bell. Get him, DOJ. Go get him. Let me put on my makeshift Kamala pin. Yeah. So, Russia was paying some of these podcasters, some of these MAGA podcasters. Hang on, if you haven't heard this already, because it'll blow your mind. To put out, I don't know how many videos a week that were all MAGA and all propaganda and all pro-Putin and all anti-Ukraine and anti-America and anti-democracy. They hypnotized people. These people will be arrested that have these podcasts. $400,000 a month. I've never seen that amount of money in my life. I've never even seen close to that, remotely close to that amount of money in my life. $400,000 a month. That's how much American democracy and to take over America with fascism. That is how much it's worth to Vladimir Putin. Okay, thanks. One video, one MAGA Putin-influenced Russian propaganda video per week. And these podcasters and YouTube channel owners, apparently, I don't know who they are. Of course, I wouldn't ever watch them, but you guys might know just out of curiosity if you checked it out. That's a huge investment. That's like, I mean, it's not like Russia's rolling in the dough right now. That is a ginormous investment. I don't know how many there were, maybe 30. Yeah, and Eric Trump said it. That's right, Darren. Good point. Even Eric Trump said, we get all the money we need from Russia. Follow the money. And Jack Smith is following the money. Make no mistake. We've talked about that at length, too. Yeah, Tim Pool was covered by Hal Sparks. Okay, so pay attention. Do not go back to sleep. These are historic times we're living in. You will never see, I don't think you'll ever see in history. We can't wait until we've saved democracy, and this is over to some degree. These are historic times in so many ways. Yeah, it was a Mueller report. That's what I was referring to in 2017. We found out about the Mueller report. And that's when I said to somebody, doesn't that mean that he doesn't get to be president? 9 years later. Was it 9 years? It feels like 9 years later. Okay. We're going to do a group hug right now because Warren's just going to keep putting it in the chat if I don't do it. And he's going to keep saying I'm ignoring him. Okay, so we're going to do a group hug. It's my request that the group hug be to the families in Georgia who lost loved ones in the gun massacre. And I think there was another school shooting today. I don't know if I'm correct about that. It seems like I saw that. I was hoping and praying that this would be a year that we wouldn't see school shootings, and it was just a couple weeks in, and you know, this is another issue. There was another in Baltimore. Did people die? Yeah, winning the election is just the beginning. Okay. Let's do a group hug to send comfort to the families who are grieving, to the best of our ability to send comfort. It's probably seems like an impossible thing, but, and all those who have suffered the loss of loved ones through gun massacres, all right? 1, 2, 3. and may we find a better way forward together. All right. So yeah, I didn't even, there's so much news going on that I did see briefly there was another school shooting. Apparently it was in Maryland. Apparently one person got killed. Okay. And Michael's saying we had a kid in a school near him that had a handgun in his backpack. And on that topic, I heard J.D. Vance say that this is just a fact of life. I heard J.D. Vance say in front of a crowd, probably a very small crowd, I heard him say that, well, they got to have better security because they can't have, people just coming into the school with a gun. Did he not know that the kid was a student at that school? Is he that out of touch? J.D. Vance needs to go back to sleep. Thoughts and prayers. And you know what? And what's his name in Georgia? Governor Kemp. How dare he? How dare he? This isn't the time to talk about those things. Well, should we make an appointment, Brian Kemp? When is it going to be time to talk about it? Because it wasn't time to talk about it in 1999 with Columbine. When exactly is the right time to talk about it? If you're not mad, if you're not furious, I know we all are. Breaking news tonight, the FBI got the do you mean to say Pakistani man that was planning on killing Jews? Pardon me while I get my cards. Pardon me with the motorcycles in the background. Was Brian Kemp's child... I know, was Brian Kemp's child a victim? Right. Right. Okay, I don't even know where to start with the readings. We'll read on Russia. Thank you for being here. Please hit the thumbs up. Tell your friends. Oh, I see. So they caught some, and here's the other thing. All these MAGAs in our Congress that have no business being in our Congress want to defund the DOJ and defund the FBI and defund law enforcement. And then they say that the Democrats want to defund the police. They contradict each other. They just contradict everything that they say constantly. We're going to pull 3 cards about Vladimir Putin. Thomas is getting angry. Need to do a dad joke. Yeah, but we're getting angry together. It helps that we're together getting angry. We can't not talk about it. You can throw up a dad joke. So Gloria's putting up there that Walt's brother is a MAGA. Okay, I want to ask you, yeah. I don't really understand the point. Anyway, I'm not being flippant. You know me. I'm from Massachusetts. Vladimir Putin. Yeah, I know, Gloria. I understand you're saying Tom Waltz is a MAGA. I just don't understand the relevance of that. That's all. That's all. Nothing personal. Vladimir Putin. Well, I'm going to read this kind of literally. Vladimir Putin, the hangman, he's losing everything. Which means he desperately needs to get Donald Trump elected president. So Putin is losing everything. The hangman is like, now, I've told you that these cards represent nefarious people in our history. Okay, the hangman So that's somebody who's being executed by the military. Okay, so that might not be literal, but it might be literal too. But what I'm taking this to mean is he's going to be out. Vladimir Putin will be outnumbered. He'll be outnumbered by justice coming after him. Vladimir Putin. Did you hear that Putin said, I mean, he's KGB, right? I mean, he's totally conning and lying and manipulating, and Trump is just like his dream. But Trump has been like Vladimir Putin's dream come true. He said about Kamala Harris that he thinks that it would be good if she was president. She has a laugh and she has joy, and that's a good thing. Vladimir Putin said that. You know he's just giving everyone a snow job. Jocelyn Paul saying $400,000 a month. Damn, I'm in the wrong business. Some other person said that too. It was Jesse Waters. Anyway, and the irony of that is, yeah, Jesse Waters is in that business on Fox. Just so you know. Vladimir Putin is going to be held accountable, especially when Kamala Harris is in the Oval Office. I hesitate to say that because I don't want you guys to not do the hard work of saving our democracy. But anyway, the Five of Wands. Yeah, it will be a challenging time for Putin, but the Five of Wands often means like a challenging time for us. But it's through the challenges that we become stronger. It is through the challenges that we become stronger. All right. So, Cheryl, I don't see Cheryl. There you are. Cheryl, how's the weather up there in Maine? Why people need loud motorcycles is beyond me. Let's have a dad joke. Yeah, that card was terrible, wasn't that, for Putin? The Hanged Man. He's gonna have that. It's the card about surrender. Okay, dad joke. A Tibetan monk saw the face of Jesus in a tub of margarine. He looked to heaven and cried, "I can't believe it's not Buddha." That's top of the list. I like that one. All right, let's pull 3 cards about Donald Trump's mental state. Apparently, he gave thank goodness for Midas Touch and Luke Beasley, who was part of Midas Touch, and Adam Mockler, and the other guy who has an Italian last name. There was a press conference today. By the way, today was supposed to be the day of the MAGA Gala. No MAGA Gala for them. So glad you're here. Be grateful. So then Trump gets out there at a press conference. He's calling press conferences. You might as well call them reveal the crime conferences or press meetings. And he starts incriminating himself about the women, some other women that accused him of sexual assault. And I do want to tell you this because I might not have saved it. Anyway, but let me show you this. There's a list. I came across a list of all the women who have said that they were sexually assaulted by Donald Trump. It's about 25, 30 women. And there they are together. Oh, look. All right. That's not what I was going to show you. But anyway. So Trump gets out there at some kind of a press conference and starts to instead of not bringing it up, he starts bringing it up that this one said that I was kissing her on an airplane against her will, and he's just talking about it. Who does that? He talked about E. Jean Carroll again. Yeah. He's probably the most criminal man in history, and it might be world history. All right, 3 cards about Trump and how things are going for him. I honestly believe, the more I think about it, the more I think that this is true. I honestly believe that Donald Trump thinks he's already a dictator. He really does. He thinks he's already a dictator. He always has. He's stuck in Mussolini brain. His soul remembers that one well. Oh, well, it's interesting because I have the devil card on Trump. I have the devil card on Trump that kind of feels like it's a weird thing. I'm having a hard time figuring out what this is, but it feels like he doesn't know how to stop self-sabotaging. It feels like it's like a ruminating. It feels like there's a loop in his head. And I felt that about his lying too. Like there's a loop and he just can't stop lying. He cannot stop sabotaging. Yes, he's constantly incriminating himself. Thank you, Catherine. A little bell for the donation. Yeah, he gave an incoherent speech. It's not the first time, right? But that one was kind of took the prize. I'm not saying a lot. He cannot, it's like OCD. He cannot stop incriminating himself. It's interesting. Okay, so I'm getting more information about this as I'm talking about it. This is insanity. I'm getting that he's so in need of attention that supersedes any attention that anyone else will get, that he can't stop sabotaging himself, because the more outrageous he is, the more attention he will potentially get. Okay, read Thomas's long dad joke because it's too long for me to read and read at the same time. We are finding that this is working to our advantage, that it's OCD. He cannot stop talking about, I think he's lost the filter between what he should say and what he shouldn't say. So what's coming out, I mean, there was something of a filter there in the past. So what's coming out, he doesn't really identify as, I probably shouldn't say that. And this is a pattern that I picked up a couple years ago, but now it's gotten to the point where the filter is completely gone with Trump. Because in the past, how I would describe it was, he doesn't think about the consequences of what he does. That if I do this, there will be consequences. But now it's gone beyond that, where he can't stop doing the thing, and he's not thinking about the consequences at all. Yeah, Damon's saying he never had a filter, but this is that amped up. It's amped up. The filter before felt to me that he didn't think about the consequences. The filter is completely gone now, so he feels like he has to just keep telling on himself. It's so weird. And the Page of Swords, every single time there are lawyers, there are prosecutors taking notes. There are prosecutors working for the United States that are taking notes. Thank you, Sharon, for putting my info up. Yeah, I agree, Damon. He's never had a filter, but this is kind of even beyond. Is that the Benny Hill music? Friday night is Terry night. You have your own night. We should call it Terry night. Thank you, Terry. Let's have a round of applause for Terry. Sound effects are very loud. All right, we'll turn it down. It's hard for us to tell. 3 cards on J.D. Vance. What the heck? We'll just go there. J.D. Vance. Thanks for the dad joke, Thomas. I can only read the short ones. The drugs don't help. What, Trump? Okay, J.D. Vance. Well, you know, I had the devil for Trump, and now I have this devilish goon. You know what they have in common? All they can do is lie. Lie, 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 lie. Yeah, okay. Now, every time J.D. Vance opens his mouth, he pisses me off. Am I the only one? Every time he opens his mouth, you know what he said? In addition to saying that school shootings are just a fact of life. J.D. Vance said that. You know, what would be more appropriate, J.D. Vance, if you want to make some friends, is to say this is a terrible problem and we need to do something about it. What he said was, well, Kamala Harris wants to take away your guns. Lie, 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 lie. And I don't care what any of them say, the Democrats have never, ever, ever, ever said we're going to take away people's guns. And they did, the kid that shot up those kids, his father got arrested. Yeah, I'm so glad they charged the father too. Yeah. As far as J.D. Vance goes, the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands, that's 2 very powerful women that are going to take J.D. Vance down. I know J.D. Vance, my psychic knowing says J.D. Vance has committed massive crimes that he's covering up. And let us remember, everybody pay close attention, that when Trump picked J.D. Vance, the Kremlin was overjoyed. Well, gee, why do you think that might be? I'm going to pull 3 cards on that, on his connections. All roads lead to Russia. Damon's asking, why wasn't the mom arrested too? My understanding, the mom of the shooter on Wednesday, my understanding is that they're divorced. My understanding also is that that father bought his son an AR-15. My understanding is that that father was notified that his son was threatening to shoot up a middle school. The father faces 2 charges of murder in the 2nd degree. What are parents doing buying their son an AR-15 and then the son threatens to shoot up a middle school? So that was months before, and they did nothing. Okay, I'm going to choose 3 cards to find out more about what crimes has J.D. Vance committed with Russian influence. You know what? This is a BFD. This is a BFD. Y'all know what that means. We'll say a big effing deal. When news broke about Russia and what Russia's doing with our media yesterday, I could not get over what a big effing deal that is. It's a huge, ginormous. We're so fortunate that we have a DOJ. Okay, so, yeah. So I'm asking for more information about J.D. Vance. I'm getting the sense that when people start, and I get the same feeling about MAGA Mike Johnson too, I've talked about this, that when people start kind of catching on, I mean the investigators start catching on to J.D. Vance's connections to the Kremlin and the money that's coming from the Kremlin, the support that's coming from the Kremlin to J.D. Vance, when he starts to realize that's going on, and it gets closer and closer to accountability time, that he's going to start receiving less money from Russia. The same thing happened to MAGA Mike. Remember? MAGA Mike, who has no bank account? MAGA Mike, who's this mystery, weird Project 2025 guy? Yes, I mentioned that, David. I did hear about the school shooting in Maryland. Anyway, we're going to find that out. We're going to find out about that, and that's when J.D. Vance's money is going to start to be cut off, and he will have absolutely no safety net. We're going to see a lot unraveling. I called it a little early. I called it for August. It's going to be September. I have a tendency to call things a bit early. 3 of Cups. We will be glad when we find out what J.D. Vance is all about. I love the way that he says that people, well, that person flip-flops. That person flip-flops. And Midas Touch, speaking of that kind of thing, Midas Touch has an absolutely brilliant ad out. You have to see it. It was on one of their videos they put out today, and it's like the projector. Did anybody see that? Did anybody see that ad? So good. Cheryl Clark is saying the FBI has all those cell phones still from all the January 6 Republicans. We ain't seen nothing yet. Just when you think you've seen it all, there's more. Oh, we lost another viewer. Nina Trebona died peacefully on Thursday afternoon. Her family thanks us for our prayers. Let's have a moment. We also lost Joanne McCardle. I didn't get the final word on what day she actually died. It was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Let's have a moment of silence for the 2 viewers that we lost. Okay. May their families be comforted. I always feel like their spirit is in just this beautiful place, and if they were able to, they'd say, don't cry, I'm in a beautiful place. But it's hard for the people left behind. When you've had a channel for 4 or 5 years, doing this, you get attached to people. This virtual thing that we have, we're connected. I mean, we feel it, right? I feel like I have a whole bunch of friends, and I've met very few of you. It's all energy. Yeah, big hugs for all of you. Take care of your health. Take care of yourselves. I don't want to hear too much. I don't want to have too many moments like this. It's sad. Okay, 3 cards. Thank you for sharing that news. And I just want you to know, too, that when people pass, I do feel them around me. Church of Spirituality, I felt Joanne. I still do. And Nina would send me little notes and stuff. Nina sent me a wonderful little book. Pretty sure that was Nina. All right, phew. Let's not read on a nefarious person right now. Let's go to the other cards so we can lift things up a bit. During COVID, the card readers on YouTube became a big part of your life. Yeah, it's a big part of a lot of people's lives. We need each other. Don't let anyone ever tell you that we don't. Speaking of that, I do want to show you this really good post I liked this one. I don't remember who posted it. I think it might have been Really American. You'll like this one. I hope you can see it. It takes a lot of Fox News to believe the guy on the left better represents you than the one on the right. So if you can't see it, it's Trump with his ugly golden sneakers that I bet people never even got. Because they were pre-ordered in the spring for the summer. I bet they didn't get their gold sneakers. And there's Tim Walz. Just out fishing. Just a good guy out fishing. Let's read on him. So, let's use these cards. I used to read these cards all the time when I lived in Nashville. Yeah, Joanne McArdle was always an active member of Church of Spirituality. I do feel her presence at Church of Spirituality. I mean, the other day, last Sunday and the Sunday before, I was like, I almost cried. I really felt her presence. I do mediumship too. Maybe she wanted me to know that she was at church. This is not the Rider-Waite deck. This is a Hanson Roberts deck. I used to use this deck all the time. It's an Italian deck. Hanson Roberts. We're going to pull 3 cards on Tim Walz. I do have classes coming up. I don't have the schedule posted, except I'll give you a little sneak preview and tell you that the classes for psychic season will be starting on Saturday, the 21st of this month, right around the fall equinox, which is actually the next day. There'll be a slide that lists the different classes. There'll be 6 of them on Saturdays, but nothing else. No pricing yet and no time yet. It'll be in the afternoon on Saturdays, starting the 3rd week in September. Details to come. Stay tuned. I want to build your suspicion. Your suspense. Maybe your suspicion too. What is she up to? Tim Walz. He is exhausted. He's going to have to figure out how to take rest breaks. But the universe is on Tim Walz's side. It is exhausting to campaign. I'm kind of glad that Biden stepped aside because it's just too exhausting. And all right. Thank you for the donation. I guess I missed it. Thank you. I appreciate it. This is Tim Walz. Yes, he's tired. This is the beat you down MAGA. It's draining, but he has universal support. And he's got the whole world in his hands, like that. I did get, when I read on Tim Walz, when he first became Kamala's running mate, I was picking cards that were swords cards that were like, it was going to be tough. It was going to be tough on his family. And it's not like he can't handle it, but, it doesn't matter how strong you are. It's tough when perfect strangers are attacking your family, verbally and online. So hopefully he doesn't see too much of that. Yeah, those are good cards, huh? Now I'm going to pull 3 cards on Kamala Harris. While I'm pulling cards, I want you all to know that I'm available to do a psychic reading for you. Don't just sit there with questions. Get them answered. I'm also a spiritual life coach. Breakthrough. Don't break down. Break through. I'll show you how. People that sign up for spiritual life coaching, their lives do change for the better. That's what I aim to help people with. Thank you, Darren. Yes, I will get to the post office next week, too. Thank you for those of you who have sent donations. Kamala Harris. I'm telling you, warm and fuzzies. Kamala Harris. This is a card of somebody who is so in their realm, in their element, doing what they came here to do. What do you call an elephant made of ears? The answer is entirely irrelevant. What? Irrelevant. Irrelevant. Okay, I get it. You're making me work here. But bum. Thank you, Thomas. Kamala Harris loves what she is doing. You know, when you're just doing something that's your thing and you're blissed out. Not that it's not stressful, but she's got the energy and she is connecting. And she and Tim Walz, I feel like they've worked together in a past lifetime. I feel like Kamala and Tim, you know, when you have a friend or maybe a spouse or a partner or a family member that you just get each other to the point. My best friend is like this. I don't even have to say anything. Like, we would joke like this when I lived in Nashville. She's still in Nashville. We would Terry, you'll meet Austin someday. Sometimes we'd say this. We don't even have to talk. We could just sit, because she's psychic too, you know, to boot. We could just sit together and go, My point is, that's what Tim and Kamala have. They have a psychic connection. They just get each other. You know, like, I'm not going to read on Michelle Obama right now, but like Barack and Michelle. Warren, sometimes you send me questions like out of the blue. It's hard enough. But like Michelle and Barack, you know, they just get each other. And the Six of Cups, that's a real family feeling card. She's appealing to families. Make sure you're on Pisons for Harris. What's Pisons for Harris? Poor Warren. I'm always yelling at Warren. He knows. He knows it's just what we do. Yeah, really warm fuzzies. Yes, real warm fuzzies. Okay, and they're going to win. They're going to win. Look at what just happened. The DOJ is busting Russia as we speak. Now, we're going to go back to the nefarious cards to read on nefarious Fox News, and we're going to start with the guy that I always mean to say his name, and what wants to come out of my mouth is Tucker Carlson. It's the weirdest thing. Jesse Waters. Whenever I want to say Jesse Waters, I have Tucker Carlson on the tip of my tongue. Let's read on Tucker Carlson first, actually. I know he's not on Fox anymore. But what we're finding out is, remember his little escapades in Russia when he was just... I felt like it was extremely dangerous. Whatever was going on with Tucker Carlson when he went to Russia, and he's like, I'm going to the Russian grocery store, and it's so much better than the American grocery stores. And look, it's so inexpensive. I don't even remember what he was buying. I think he bought ketchup or something. And I had said, oh, now it's all coming back to me. I had said at that time, was that at the start of the year? You guys remember when that was? Tucker goes to Russia. I said that he was going to be in really big trouble. And then, you remember that? And then he sat down with Vladimir Putin and basically gave him free rein to make a complete idiot out of... Tucker sat down with Putin. Do you remember that? And Putin made a fool of him. And he just sat there like... Tucker just sat there like, you know, that weird expression on his face. We're going to read on Tucker Carlson. Because now that this news has broken, that he was being paid by the Kremlin, as if we didn't know that, but they've got the receipts. What's Tucker Carlson's fate? And then we'll read on Jesse Waters. They're two peas in a pod. They're hard to discern from each other. The Five of Pentacles, his money also gets cut off. Oh, Tucker is actually a wuss crybaby. Cheryl's saying Jesse Waters is worse than him. They're the same level of evil. I maybe you haven't listened to Tucker Carlson, or maybe you forgot. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't think that he's worse. I think they're equal. Oh, nice. Thomas is telling us that Florida Democrats have garnered over 80,000 volunteers to do groundwork. Florida's in play. So is Texas. Rose is like, just his money gets cut off. Well, I haven't finished yet. His money gets cut off. And I actually see Tucker Carlson becoming more subservient, or more of a tool for Vladimir Putin, more of a useful idiot. I think that Tucker is in hot water and he doesn't know how to get out. And then here's the Seven of Cups. I really get the sense that Tucker Carlson is scared out of his wits. His funding gets cut off, but he's got plenty of money. But that it's not so much the funding gets cut off from Russia. It's more that he's more concerned not about money running out. Tucker is more concerned about what is going to be found out about the money trail. Texas and Florida are within 3 points. It's great. Yeah, I'm going to read on Fox News next. I think Tucker is really frightened. Yeah, I think he's really frightened. He is a useful idiot. He's very dumb. That was a soft trombone. Was that good? Was that level good? Thank you for putting my information up. What time is it? My clock fell off my table. We have a little time. Do you know what? I would say at this stage of the game, when you get emails from Democrats, I mean, you can turn off the text messages and all that. They do send too many text messages. But if it stresses you out, just consider, at least you're in a democracy. Isn't the FBI investigating Tucker? I haven't heard anything. But I don't feel like Tucker Carlson is very comfortable right now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pull 3 cards about Jesse Waters. We found a petition to get Jesse Waters out of his position. And before I pull cards about Jesse Waters, sorry about the noise, as the sirens go off. Before I pull cards about Jesse Waters, that's what I'm going to do next. I want to tell you that we need more people at our Grassroots of Democracy meetings. And I just want you, I'm not going to ask for you to, volunteer your reasons. I just want to ask that you think about the reasons, if you're not involved in saving democracy in some way, the reasons why you might not be involved in saving democracy in some way. I just want you to reflect, because we have 8 weeks left. And one thing I know about being an activist my whole life, in some way, always involved in something, is that I know from my real life experience that the human mind, for some reason, feels like somebody else is going to do it. And we can't afford to be in that now. I'm so grateful to see people being involved. Grassroots Democracy is 3 times a week. You don't even have to attend the meetings. If it doesn't fit your schedule, you get the notes. You get a guided meditation for a healed America going on 2.5 years now, once a week. You receive it in your inbox. The reason that I thought to bring this up is that we were able to talk about how to get Jesse Waters fired. And we were able to collectively, in our small discussion group last night, we were able to find, working together, that there is a petition to get Jesse Waters fired. Yeah, Warren is a regular. Please join us at Grassroots of Democracy. This is not an ego trip. This is me freaking out with fear that people might not be paying close enough attention. And that's my little speech. Grassrootsofdemocracy.com, and on Saturdays we have a work session. We get together and we do the work, and we will guide you. It would be different if it wasn't getting so close, but I'm starting to freak out. Okay. 3 cards about Jesse Waters. All right. So I don't need you to write it in the chat unless you feel like it. Check yourself, and if you're not involved, ask yourself why not, and then check yourself and say, I'm going to show up. We have a great group. We laugh, we goof around, and we get the work done. Jesse Waters. I feel like his mom is really going to be very upset with him, which leads me to believe that he's going to get himself fired. He's been such a misogynist, racist POS. Jesse Waters. And that little smirk. Oh my gosh, these guys, like the MAGA Mike smirk. You know what I'd like to do with that smirk? What did your mother used to say? Wipe that smirk off your face or I'll wipe it off for you. That's how Jesse Waters' mother's feeling. I feel like that Fox is going to sit him down. I do. The King of Pentacles keeps coming up. This tells me that the kingpins of where the money's coming from will be revealed. And Darren, I didn't know you used your pendulum. A strong yes for Florida going blue. I'll check too. Let me check too. Let's see if we can get a second yes. Is Florida going to go blue this election cycle? I get a yes on that too. Don't worry about it. It's going to be all right. If you get involved. And here's the other thing too, is I've done repeated readings on how we'll do in our election this year. And along the way, I keep on getting not enough people are involved. So I'm hoping for that to change. What do you call a person who can hear anything 100 miles away? A superhero. Very good. The next 3 cards that I'm going to pull next week is going to be a doozy. You got a strong yes as well. The Florida's gone blue. That's great. That's great. Yeah, I mean, when you think about Ron DeFascist, it's like, does Florida really want that kind of energy? The answer is no. Next week is going to be big. Next week is going to be huge. I feel like I keep saying these Trumpisms. Huge. Next week is going to be big. I'm just processing next week in my head right now. It's going to be. Just you wait, you'll see. 3 cards about MAGAs in Congress. Bigly. Are they back or do they come? I think they come back next week. I don't think they've come back yet. The MAGAs return. The return of the MAGAs. It sounds like a horror movie. Return of the MAGAs. It is a horror movie. Let's be real. Now that Kamala Harris is in the race instead of Joe Biden, they don't know what to do. Were they still in session when I got to figure out the date wise? When Joe Biden stepped aside, were they still in session? I think they weren't. It just seems like this is, they're entering into brand new territory. These MAGAs, the return of the MAGAs is about to happen when they think they're gonna subpoena Tim Walz for made up crimes, right? So they haven't been meeting yet since Kamala took over, right? MAGA Mike sent them on summer break again. They're not coming back next week? Okay, so here's what I'm getting. They're going to continue to try to steal, but we have the Queen of Wands, the Queen of the communications that are happening right now, and the strength of the American people now that we're finding out all the dirt. So, Rose, MAGA Mike sent them on summer break again. Can you give me the dates that you're referring to? Yeah, they're going to get really dirty. So they're planning to subpoena Tim Walz, to take him off the campaign trail and to subpoena him for what? For made up crimes. They just don't know when to stop. Yes, my question is, are they returning? I know they've been on recess because they're in recess in the summer. I'm just wondering when they're returning. I'll have to look it up myself. What do you call the night before an ear operation? New Year's Eve. What are we on, the ear jokes? That was 3 in a row. Bum. Thank you, Thomas. I'm going to pull 3 cards about what the Democrats are going to do. What the Democrats are going to do. They're going to be on fire. That's what I get. They're going to be on fire. They do nothing. Not the Democrats, but the MAGAs do nothing. They do nothing but create chaos. MAGA is the party of chaos. Remember, Trump would always say the do nothing Democrats, do nothing Democrats. You got to watch that projection ad that Midas Touch is putting out. The Democrats are going to see right through the crap. They're going to see right through the crap. Now, keep in mind, the Democrats are in the know now, because we're all in the know, about who's behind MAGA. It's a direct line. MAGA Russia, MAGA Russia, MAGA Russia. MAGA Putin, MAGA Putin, MAGA Russia, MAGA Viktor Orban. Think about it. They got the whole world in their hands. I mean, the Democrats. What's the matter? Be grateful. Got the whole world in their hands, and the Democrats have a lot of money behind them. Yep. Well, that makes sense, because I just heard that Kamala Harris, their campaign has like a lot of money to share with all the Democrats on down the ballot. Oh yeah. More Democrats running in elections winning. Thank you, Rose. Rose check. Google says they come back on Monday the 9th. And what a week it's going to be. Couple more things before we finish. I have to read on. I don't know which cards to use. Let's see. There's supposed to be a debate next Tuesday. Warren, I already answered that question several times. So I'm trying to decide which cards to read about the debate. Do I read the nefarious people cards or do I read the other cards? Let's do this. 3 cards for the Donald about September 10th, the debate, and then 3 cards from a different deck for Kamala. Michelle has a naughty joke up there. We'll leave that up to Terry's discretion, whether to post it. It's up to Terry. How's the Donald? Did you put it up there? It's Friday. We're feeling nasty. Who's that nasty girl? 3 cards. How is Donald Trump going to do at the debate? Yeah, if you haven't listened to his screed when he was asked at an economics business person's meeting, when he was asked about what his plans were to help people with childcare. Because remember, they want to have all these babies. We're also trying to get the mainstream media to fess up to their crime of not informing the American people of how off the rails Donald Trump is. How's Donald Trump going to do? Oh my gosh, I keep on getting this card. The fact that I keep on getting the King of Pentacles just about every time. I don't know what's going on. I'm shuffling the cards. That has to do with the big Russian money that's been discovered. This King of Pentacles keeps popping up around everything. And that's what it's indicative of. And this 8 of Cups, the debate for Trump, if he chooses to show up, and I'm not very clear that he will. Seems like he will. All his skeletons from the past, all his skeletons from the past are going to be on full view. Kamala is going to be as calm and focused as you. Kamala is going to be calm and focused, and it's going to throw Trump off. It's going to throw him off. So I'm reading about Trump. This is all his horrors from the past coming back to haunt him, including his connections financially to Russia. Understand me. If you have people that are MAGA in your life, they drank the Kool-Aid. They were going to news and social media as if they were getting the truth, and they didn't know they were getting lies. And pray that they wake up and be the nice, most supportive, loving person that you can be in general. Because they're going to need to not see us as the enemy when they come up out of their Rumpelstiltskin. No, wait. Rip Van Winkle's slumber. I always get those two mixed up. They were being played. Yes. Remember the other night I talked about, imagine if somebody that you really loved went and got conned and scammed by somebody. If you really, really loved that person, you would be very kind and compassionate. You wouldn't yell at them. That would be terrible. Okay. The Psychic Telethon now is up to 10 grand for the Harris Fund. That's great. Now this is about Kamala Harris. Here it is. This is about Kamala Harris at the debate. Justice. I don't pull these cards every time. I just want you to know. Someone's having a great time. I'm reading about the debate. And I'm reading, these cards are about Kamala. Justice. She puts an end to somebody with a message for the future. We're not going back. We're not going back. September 10th, Kamala stands for justice and the end of Donald Trump, the end of his reign, and a brand new clear message. Wow, that feels really good. Yeah, if anyone knows anything about motorcycles, I'm not a motorcycle person. I don't understand why they have to be so loud, but I've had to listen to that all summer. Time for some tea leaves. Please stay tuned for the slideshow at the end. The song about January 6th needs to be widely shared. If you'd like a version of it that doesn't connect to my YouTube channel, I can provide you with that. Otherwise, the song is shareable under videos. The more they're trying to pretend January 6th didn't ever happen, the more I feel like, my song needs to be heard. So please help with that. You're not helping me, you're helping our country. It's all right. I mean, it doesn't bother me that much about the motorcycles. I don't understand why they have to be so loud. That's all. So, if you're a motorcycle person, why do they have to be so loud? What is that? Let's read some tea leaves, shall we? I see a witch's broom sweeping up all the stuff, sweeping up all the crap. Or that could probably be like a vacuum cleaner too. That looks like a swan, or kind of like a thin swan. And so just swimming along. Here we are. Yes, I agree, Angela Adam, that Kamala's prosecutor talents are going to be shining. There's a V for victory. Right where the Mars symbol is a V for victory. I think that Ukraine is going to have some wins over the next few days. And the cat, which is kind of hidden, quiet stuff. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. Joe Biden, what I was saying at our meeting last night. Joe Biden is working very hard. I know we haven't seen him. I think it's great that we haven't seen him, because that means he's working. John is saying the motorcycles, they like to show off. Maybe I should just get out there when the motorcycles go by and go, you're so awesome. Is that what they need? A Scorpio that you see in front of your eyes is less dangerous than a Scorpio that you don't see. Joe Biden is doing good work. Joe Biden is a Scorpio. His good work is happening off camera, and always was. And we're so really pathetically addicted to visuals that we haven't, as a collective America, we really haven't noticed how much Joe Biden has been doing. Behind the scenes, he's taken advantage of the situation to the hilt. Absolutely, I totally agree. Thank you for educating me on motorcycles. There's a hook. Somebody's going to be, and that also looks like a hook. Somebody's going to be on the hook. Gee, I wonder who that is. I feel like J.D. Vance is going to be on the hook. Why did the pianist keep slamming his head on the keyboard? He was playing by ear. What are you in the E section of your... That's funny. Yeah, there's a lot of good happening behind the scenes. And this feels like a fairy that's flying straight up. Let's be optimistic. But let's not only be optimistic. Let's join grassroots of democracy, or at least let us know that you're doing the work to save democracy, because it's going to make us all breathe a little easier. I just want to know that we're all working very, very hard. Tinkerbell, Rose is saying. Yeah, it was like a little fairy flying up, like keep the levity. That's what we do here. Please stay tuned for the slideshow, and I'll keep you posted if any news happens. Look at my community page. And next week's going to be big, so get ready for that. Try to jump in the chat while you're in Canada. Have fun in Canada. All right. That's all I got. Join us, Church of Spirituality, every Sunday. Please go to that channel and subscribe. Please subscribe here. Hit the thumbs up. Leave a comment. You know the drill. All right. Namaste. Have a good night.
Was a dark day, we were frightened, so much chaos, so many white men, caught off guard, no one knew what to say. How did it all get so crazy? Facts were absent, the air was hazy, we stood watching, tears streamed down our faces. While in the White House there was a tyrant glued to the TV, cheering the violence. When they pleaded, he refused to say a word. He just sat there in his fury, lashed out against us. The world was worried. We didn't know if we would make it through. The day they stormed the Capitol, they couldn't take it down, and now we're rising up in numbers much too numerous to count, and we are taking back democracy, and we won't be backing down. We are taking back democracy, and we won't be backing down. Now we're standing, we're united. Our elders showed us the most worthy fight is for our freedom, requires vigilance. We're courageous, growing stronger, not complacent. We serve with honor, and our power is the love that leads our way.